Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. In this one we're going to be talking about what makes a narcissist idealize you very quickly. Because I know what it's like. You get involved with this narcissist, initially they targeted you, they idealized you, they put you on a pedestal, and it made you feel wanted, valued, as though they really wanted to be with you. But then gradually you began to see a different side of them. They began to act very differently towards you, and you couldn't understand what went wrong. You couldn't understand why they were beginning to treat you that way. But this is the thing, I'm going to expose what it is that really makes them idealize you. It makes them really put you up on a pedestal. And what it is more than anything else. And I know when I say this to you, it's going to make perfect sense. What really makes them idealize you, what really makes them put you up on the pedestal, is distance. When you're far away from them, when you distance yourself, when you go no contact, when you leave, as long as you're near them, they're not going to value you. They're not going to think anything of you. And even when they idealize you and you respond to the idealization, they just view you primarily as a tool for fulfilling their own desires. And that's all that it is. If you want them to really idealize you and value you, you've got to keep distance between you and them. And this is really what it is more than anything else. Sometimes you may mistake it for something that you possess, such as money, power, or status. Or you may think that that's why they idealize certain celebrities. But actually what it is more than anything else is the distance, the separation between them and that person. Because we all know what happens when they get close to people that they idealize. And then they start devaluing them. They start putting them down. The closer you get to a narcissist, the more that they just begin to hate you. The more that they just don't want anything to do with you. They take it for granted. And this is just what happens when you're dealing with them. But when you create distance, they begin to value you again. And then they may say to you that they want to treat you better than they did before. They may start making false promises about the future, acting as though they're going to change. But that's just it, because the moment that you believe in them again, the moment you give them another chance, it's going to follow on to the next part of the cycle. Initially, they idealize you, they put you on a pedestal, but then the devaluation phase has to follow next. The idealization cannot continue as long as they're around you. But narcissists, as many of you may know, they can idealize celebrities, for example, for years, for their entire life, while never even being close to them. And how are they able to do that? Well, they're able to do that because of the distance. Once something is around them, they no longer value it. Because the way they look at it is that if it was anything great, then why would it be anywhere near them? because deep down they know they don't deserve anything. They feel unlovable. And when you validate them, they know that they're just deceiving you. They know that if you could see the real them, then you wouldn't want anything to do with them. Because they know that they're so caught up in all of these schemes. Many of them are involved in illegal or immoral activities. And they know that no one is going to value someone like that. No one's going to value someone who does the things that they do. So how can they idealize you if you are associated with them? If you're anywhere near them, they can't. They can only idealize you when you're far away from them. Or when they're in the process of pursuing you, when they don't already feel like they have you. But as soon as you get close to them, and I'm sure at some level they think this, they think, if you were smart, if you were intelligent, you would be running in the opposite direction. Because they just see it as though they've deceived you. Or even if you begin to know what they're like and you still stay, they just think that you're afraid or you're just stupid. Because they know they don't deserve anything from you. They know that you deserve better than that. So as soon as you get around them, instantly they have to devalue you. Once you begin to like them and accept them. But that's just how it is. People who do not like themselves, if you start liking them because they're so insecure, they're going to start thinking there must be something wrong with you. That's how they're going to think. But of course, people who are secure, they're going to value people more who are around them. People who do value them. The narcissist is not going to value you just because you value them. Actually, the more that you value them, the more they're going to devalue you. The more you do for them, the less they're going to want to do for you. The less that it's going to motivate them. Because that's just it. The more you do for the narcissist, the closer you try to get to them, the more they're going to think in their heads that there must be something wrong with you. That you just must not be a valuable person. Because otherwise, what are you doing with them? It's how they're going to think. And that's how, if you distance yourself, if you separate yourself from the narcissist, they will begin to idealize you very quickly. And they always do, pretty much every time. They come back, they hoover you, they try to get your attention again. They idealize you because they're looking at it like, wow, this person must be smart. This person must be intelligent. This person must be high value because look, they're running the opposite way, away from me. That's how they're thinking. So yeah, this is how you get them to idealize you very quickly. Because as long as you're around them, they will struggle to recognize your value. And it's just because of the core traits of their disorder. Because they're self-absorbed, they lack empathy. And they're shame-based people. So of course, a shame-based person, if you like or want anything to do with them, automatically they're going to think in their heads, that means that you must not be any good. Because if you were any good, why would you like or want anything to do with them? Doesn't make any sense to them. Now, of course, for you or I, we may think the opposite. We may think, oh, if someone likes us, if someone wants to be around us, that must mean that they're something great. That must mean that they're a high value person. Because they like us, they want to be around us. And that's how they get you. by pretending to like you, by pretending to want you. They don't really want you at all. They can't stand you. They envy you because they see you as being above them. They see you as being greater than them. So when they get around you, they're just looking to use you, to exploit you, to put you down. And that's why it's only a matter of time until they go to the devaluation, because they feel so insecure around you. And they can't feel bad for you, despite all of the things they do to you. They have an inability to genuinely empathize with people. So they can't understand or appreciate your feelings, or even your strengths or contributions while you are around them. Now, once you distance yourself, of course, they will begin to realize your strengths. But they're not going to value you as a person. They're never going to value you as a person. They will value you like an appliance that's no longer working. It's no longer functioning properly. If you imagine like a washing machine, maybe the washing machine suddenly stopped working. That's how they're going to think of you. Now they can't wash their clothes. They're not going to be thinking about you as a person where they appreciate you, your feelings. They're not going to be thinking like that. But they're going to be thinking about the benefits, the conveniences that they're missing. That's the only way they're ever going to see you. Especially once you're gone, especially once you distance yourself. They're going to feel that separation. They're going to recognize it. And they're going to feel that loss. They're going to feel a sense of regret. Because remember, narcissists, because they're so insecure, because they're so full of shame deep down inside, they are excessively focused on their own needs, desires, and self-image. That's all they care about. That's all they care about is their image. And that's why they go to devaluing and discrediting you, because then they only care about your image and how it makes them look bad. It makes them feel bad about themselves. Everything is surface-based with narcissists. So once you distance yourself, they will begin to value you again. But I can promise you, I can assure you, the moment that you get back involved with them, maybe give it a few days, they will be worse than before. Because then they've got to punish you for leaving. They've got to punish you for going no contact with them. So the worst thing you can ever do is go back to a narcissist. The more times you go back, the worse it gets. It will get worse and worse every time. They will make it worse for you. Which is why the best thing that you can do is stay as far away from them as you possibly can. And also by you doing that, they will begin to idealize you again very quickly. It won't take them long. The moment you begin to shift your focus onto something else, the moment that you begin to heal, the moment that you begin to get back into your hobbies and interests again, the moment that you begin to do all of that, they will be back. Because somewhere out there, they're watching you and they're just waiting for your focus to shift. Because they've done this before. They already know how it goes with them and their disorder. They already know what happens in their minds and their brains. They already know how it is. They know that once someone is around them, they can no longer value them. They can no longer appreciate them. They can no longer want anything to do with them other than just extracting the benefits, conveniences, resources. But they also know that the moment that person gets away, the moment that person distances themselves, then they're going to begin to idealize them again. Then they're going to begin to want to be around them again. They're going to see them as perfect. They know that. They know their disorder works. And this is how sometimes they will toy with you in this way, where they go right through the cycle with you. They love bomb you, devalue you, discard you, and then whoop, they're back with the Hoover again. After they just gotten rid of you. Because they understand how their disorder works. They know that if you're around them long enough, they can't appreciate you. They're going to take you for granted. It's not going to be good supply. Your supply is going to lose its potency. This is just the nature of their disorder. This is just how they function. And if you just joined now, please give the video a thumbs up down below. Let's work together to get this message out there. Because a lot of people need to understand this. They got to understand that this will make the narcissist idealize you very quickly. When you separate yourself from them, when you distance yourself. I mean, you've seen what it's like, you know, when they discard you, when they leave. You've seen how much more they appreciate you when they come back, when they try to make up with you again. Now, when you are the one to leave them, then your value really goes up. And you've got to be careful sometimes, because this is why I say when you go back, it gets worse. Because your value goes so high that they just want to go straight to punishing and destroying you. Because your value is that much higher than theirs. Now, if your value is just, you know, because this is what happens when they idealize you. They're idealizing themselves at the same time. So they don't really see you as being that much greater than them. But when your value is just phenomenally high, then they really just want to pull you down. Then they really want to destroy you. When they see you as just being ridiculously more valuable than them, then you've really got to watch out. Then you've really got to be careful. And this is why, although yes, they will idealize you once you distance yourself, you most definitely do not want to go back. Because you go back and they will want to punish you for rejecting them, for leaving in the first place. Because the way they look at it is that if they were any good, why would you leave? Even if they weren't even doing anything for you, they look at it like you should expect, they look at it like you should see it as a privilege just for them to be around you. That's how they see it. But yeah, as long as you're around them, they're never going to value you. They're never going to appreciate you. They will use and exploit you, but they're not going to value you. The person who they will value, the person who they will idealize, is the person who is far away from them. Not so much the person who doesn't want anything to do with them. That to a person they may hate and hold a grudge against. But if it's just some person who somehow just mysteriously is just not there for whatever reason, and they don't know why, but they're just not there. Now that's the person that they will idealize. Because nothing went wrong between them and that person. And especially if that person never got to see underneath their mask, then of course they're going to value them. What they won't value is someone who has seen the true self, someone who knows just how bad they are. Because, you know, what really makes them idealize someone is when they also get an opportunity to idealize themselves at the same time. So it has to be fake. It can't even be remotely real. They will idealize you. They will put you up on the pedestal when it's all fake, when everything is superficial, when never mind all of the destruction that they cause, never mind their mental health issues, just forget about all of that. And instead, just focus on how good they look. Focus on what they're wearing. Focus on the new car that they just bought. Focus on their promotion at work. Focus on that. And they will idealize you very quickly. But more than anything, it is the distance. That distance, it creates curiosity, mystery. Believe it or not, but narcissists are actually very curious creatures. It's only once you begin to see through the facade, once you begin to invalidate them, then they're not so curious about you anymore. Then they've got to think, oh no, I know everything I need to know about this person. I've got this person all figured out because they've got me figured out. They know what I'm about. So I can't be curious about them anymore, is how they think. But otherwise, narcissists are very curious about people and things. This is why initially when they're getting to know you, they're all over you. They're idealizing you. They want to know everything about you. And everything moves so fast. Because they're very curious creatures. Of course they are. They have an arrested emotional development. They're like a child inside. They want to learn everything, know everything. Everything's so exciting to them. It's all just about the rush, the adrenaline. It's all about that with them. But only with someone who doesn't know them. Someone who doesn't already realize what a monster they are underneath the mask. If you've already seen underneath the mask, they're not going to see you in that way. At least not for a certain amount of time after you distance yourself. Once they've forgotten about it, they're hoping that you've forgotten about it as well. And then they may begin to idealize you again. But this works much better with people who are still in the love bombing phase, and there's been no rejection. Like you haven't seen it underneath the mask, you haven't upset them in any way. Then they're going to continue to idealize you. And this is why. When you're dealing with narcissistic people, you're much better off just being that side chick, that bit on the side. The worst thing you can ever be for a narcissist is a relationship partner, or in a marriage with them especially, having a child with them. That's the worst. Because then you're close to them. The closer you get to them, the worse it is. Now, if it's just something where it's like a narcissist is having a one-night stand or just something short-term, you might not ever even see that side of them. You might not ever even know about it. And that's how they like it. They want to keep it that way where their mask doesn't slip, so they can keep getting that supply from you. And it's amazing how they do it. They can live double lives. They can live 10 different lives. And this is how they do it. Sometimes they can be married to someone. They could be married to someone for 10 years. And that person knows exactly what they're like. But then also, at the same time, they could have someone on the side for 10 years. And that person on the side could never know the real them. That person on the side is living in a fantasy, an alternate reality. They're in a delusion for all of that time. And I know many of you know exactly what I'm talking about, especially if you had a narcissistic parent. Because that's what it was like for me as well. Throughout my childhood, throughout my life, I was in a fantasy, I was in a delusion, not realizing that I was in a narcissistic family. I wasn't even aware of it. So all of that time I was asleep. I was unaware. And this is what it's like, even though they will idealize, they can only idealize because it's fake. They can't idealize someone if it's real. Everything is black and white with them. So they're either going to idealize you or they're going to devalue you. It's either going to be fake and they're going to put you up on the pedestal, or it's going to be real and they're just going to want to devalue you and abuse you. That's just how it goes with them. That's just the only way that it's ever going to be. But distance can help a lot. Even if they have devalued you, they have abused you, even if they've been abusing you for years, give it a bit of distance, give it a bit of time. It may take a few months, it may take a few years in some cases, depending on how they've been treating you. But eventually, they will often begin to idealize you again. Now, in some cases, yes, they can hold grudges. They can hold grudges for life. But sometimes, they may often idealize you again, just with that distance and with time. And there's a much better chance of them idealizing you with that distance and time, rather than when you are around them. If you just remain around them, they're going to continue devaluing you. They're not just all of a sudden going to start valuing you. They're already getting it from you. They're already getting the validation they want, the benefits. What purpose is there for them to value you for? There's no purpose in them doing that. They're not going to get anything out of it. So, yeah, I mean, if you want them to value you, to idealize you, the best thing you can do is distance yourself. My mouth is getting really dry. I think it's anxiety. When I get anxious, my mouth just suddenly starts drying up. But yeah, this is what you got to do. If you want them to value you again, if you want them to view you in a positive light, distance yourself. Remove yourself from that situation. And watch how they begin to value you again. Because it can only ever be fantasy. It can only ever be a fantasy in their minds. And that's why when you're around them, once you've spent a certain amount of time around them, for them to protect their fragile self-esteem, they have to diminish your worth. But with distance, you can then be a part of the fantasy, of the idealization of themselves, which has to be conducted through some fantastical entity, to where they can then maintain a sense of superiority. And I know this sounds crazy, I know. Because with us, of course, it's the opposite. What makes us value people is when they're around us, when they value our time, our company. But with narcissists, it is the opposite. And of course, what makes us hate them, what makes us never want to see them again, is when they devalue us. So when they give us a silent treatment or ghost us, that creates separation for us. But for them, it's the opposite. It creates a form of bonding. Because that's it, they trauma bond. because they've got so much trauma. They can only bond over the trauma. For us, it's more bonding over love, a connection. It's the opposite with them. So that's how you got to think about it. Just think about what's the opposite that will work with them. How it is for you, and then with them it's the opposite. Because they're disordered. Like for us, what we appreciate, what we value is time together. And, that's not going to, typically that won't make us idealize someone. It won't make us feel them as perfect. But it will make us like them. We will enjoy their company if they're good people to be around. But that's just it. Narcissists are not good people to be around. Underneath the mask, they're horrible people who have done horrible things. And they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to figure that out. Which is why the closer you get to them, it begins to have an effect on you. And they see the effect that they're having on you, and they have to devalue you, degrade you, humiliate you. Because it's either you or it's them. So that's why they have to do that. But yeah, if you want them to idealize you, the quickest way is really just to have that distance. Separate yourself from them. They will value you once you're no longer there. Now, how's everyone doing in the live chat? What's going on? David John says, imagine talking to a phone 12 hours a day about narcissists. Why would anyone want to imagine that? I mean, even I myself, even me, Narc Survivor. I only do this for my live videos. I only do it for usually up to 1 hour per day. I don't think there's anyone on YouTube who's talking about narcissists for 12 hours a day. I'm assuming that's a troll comment, because these trolls, they aren't with us in reality. John Tracy says it will never be an equal exchange. That's right, it never will be. Because that's the whole point of why they targeted you. They're not going to target someone who they think is going to be equal. Because they want to get more. They want to get more than what they can give. Hazel Oldham says, trolls love this channel. They do, because it's an excellent source of supply for them. I spoke about this before. I mean, myself as an empath who vibrates primarily at the love frequency. And of course, with this community of empaths as well, they see it as a great place for them to get supply. They love getting supply from people who are successful, powerful, intelligent, but also pure and even unaware. And that's it, you know, when you operate at the love frequency, it kind of makes you unaware to abuse. You're not thinking that there's horrible people around. And that's often what gets us caught up with these people. But yeah, I hope you found this video helpful. And I will be doing another video about this very soon. I'll have a pre-recorded video available, and it will be titled, "This is the only time a narcissist will realize they gain past value." Hopefully that will be up within the next week, so look out for that one. But yeah, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You can also show your support by donating. I appreciate all donations, no matter how small. You can donate to my PayPal. It's paypal.me/Narc Survivor. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. And also click all notifications. And if you'd like to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, you can go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And also follow me on Instagram. I've been posting quite a few reels on there lately, many of which have thousands of plays each. My Instagram is Narc Survivor YouTube. Thank you all for joining me on another live video. My mouth was a bit dry in this one. Hopefully I will be speaking better in the next one. But thank you all for your support. And you all have a great day or evening, wherever you are.